Hey guys, good morning. Is it good morning? It's afternoon, but it's all good. Hi, my name is Kishore. I'm a web developer based in Poland. Today's topic is going to be about continuous deployment. Before we go too deep into what continuous deployment is and why we might need to use it and how we do it, I want to talk to you guys about why I think you might need it, right? Uh, so that you understand where I'm coming from. So last week I uploaded a tutorial on how to deploy your Gatsby project onto Netlify. And it was quite simple. All that we did was we went inside the Gatsby folder, ran the build command using Gatsby build, and this compiled all the folders and files together and gave us this one big folder called build. And to deploy this, all I did was I dragged and dropped it onto Netlify, and in about a minute, it was done. The site was deployed, and it was just, that's all we had to do. And this method is good, right? I'm not taking anything away from it. This method is good. However, let's say that you're dealing with a more complicated project, a project that involves Git because you need to, version control it, a project that involves a lot of branches to make sure that you break down each functionality of your app into several parts, and then once everything is coming together working, you deploy it to the master and so on. So in such a situation, it would be pretty annoying if you're running the build command every single time and then dragging and dropping into Netlify and so on and so on. It takes too much time and it's too much work, and it's just not developer friendly, right? And this is where continuous deployment comes into play. So let's take a look at what it is, and then I will show you guys how to do it with your project. Continuous deployment, in essence, is the process in which developers can push features that were validated from the staging environment to the production environment. Sounds pretty simple enough. Let's take a look at how we can do this within our web apps. For this project, we will need three things. Number one, a Gatsby or a React project. Now, I remember that I mentioned that we'll be using Gatsby for this project, but we can also use React as well. The same principles apply. Number two, you will need a GitHub account. For the Git commands, I'll be using GitHub Desktop simply because I like using a nice graphical user interface instead of typing all the Git commands. The third thing that we'll be using is a Netlify account. Now, don't worry too much about all of these three things because I'll be showing you guys how to do all these three steps in the coming videos. Okay, step number one, adding our project to GitHub. Before we deploy our apps and push them to GitHub, let's take a look at the one that we have right now. So over here, I have a starter app from Gatsby, and I'm just typing hello from the continuous deployment tutorial in there, just to make sure that it's closer to what we're doing here. There we go. Localhost is working. And then we go on to desktop.github.com and then just download whatever version of it you need. So it might be for Mac users, it will be Mac OS, and if you're using Windows, it might be Windows. Once you do, install it, and then you will log in and see a screen like this. Choose Add Existing Repository. Go into the path where you installed your earlier Gatsby app. So for me, it was Documents, and yep, Gatsby Hello World. There we go. I click Add Repository, and there we have it. So I type in my first commit and then a description of the commit message, just to make sure that when I look back, I can see what changed in this version one day. The Gatsby files. God, it's so hard to spell this word sometimes. Continuous. Right. And then commit to master. Publish the repository. Whoa. Okay. So maybe we can rename it to continuous deployment. Just deployment. I'm just going to publish the repository. GitHub is doing its magic. Okay, there we have it. Now that we have connected our files into GitHub, it's time that we connect the GitHub to Netlify. Let's take a look at how we can do that. Okay, so GitHub is ready. So all we gotta do is go into Netlify, not Netflix, app.netlify.com/start. Select GitHub because that is where all our files are. Once you do, they will maybe ask you to authorize yourself. Just log in to your GitHub and then search for the repository that we just created. So it was continuous. Whoa, made a typo there. Select it. Always use the master branch as the deployment branch. Okay, deploy site. So what's happening essentially is that Netlify is using the GitHub files to deploy our website. This might take some time, so I'm just going to skip ahead. Alright, so we have our project deployed on Netlify. Let's just go open it up and yep, hello from the continuous deployment tutorial. Fantastic. So what we do now is we go back to GitHub, open a new branch based on master. Let's just call it new branch. Once we do, we will publish it. Right. So let's just hop over to my terminal. We are now on the new branch. Let's just add a new pieces of code in there. Let's just add a P in there and say, I love working with Gatsby. Maybe a little happy cheerful message as well. Why not? Right. So once that is done, we go over and we won't see the changes in Netlify, but we will see it in localhost because of hot reloading feature. All appears to be well. Let's just switch our attention all the way back to GitHub. And since there were some changes made in the new branch, let's just commit it with a nice good message. Some description as well. Now, I always have this problem with making my message or commits and descriptions quite long, but it's because that way I know what I've been working on, and I think it's better to be safe than sorry. Let's just commit it, push the origin. Okay, super. So the next step is to hop on back to the master and then merge our new branch with master. Select it, and yes, that is exactly what we need to do. Merge it. And once we do that, we quickly hop on over to Netlify. There should be some changes here. Okay, let's just reload it. And there you go. Netlify is now building a new version based on our GitHub. Now, as you can imagine, that deployment also took a little bit of time because Netlify needs time to look at all the files, bundle it together before deploying it. But it's about 1 minute, so it's not too bad. Okay, so the deployment is finished and we can see that it was a success. It was pushed from the master branch. Let's open this up. And there we have it. We have our message. I love working with Gatsby with the happy woohoo message. So the continuous deployment was a success. Okay, and that's it for continuous deployment. I hope you guys successfully deployed your project. But if you had any trouble at all, just write to me in the comment box below and I'll do my level best to reply to you guys. Before I sign out, I have one small request. If you like what you learned from this video or the previous videos, just tell me. Give me a like, give me a comment, maybe click on that subscribe button, because I find feedback from people like you very helpful to create future videos, because I need to know what you guys want to see more of in order to create them. Okay, and that's about it from me for today. I'll see you guys next week with a brand new video. Bye bye.